Assalamualaikum, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, a big welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a first impression and wear test of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous foundation. I picked this up a couple of weeks ago, but I wanted to wait until I'd really tested out my Fenty Beauty foundation and given a thorough review of that. That will already be up on my channel. And also this eyeshadow look is done using just the Viseart Warm Edit palette. This is the last look I did. I've done 5 eyeshadow looks with this one palette. So if you're interested in that, again, that will be linked down below. But back to the whole point of this video, I'm very excited to be filming a first impressions of this foundation. I asked you guys what you wanted to see and if you preferred a first impression or if you preferred like a thorough review, and it was pretty 50-50, so I thought I'll do a really thorough review of the Fenty and I'll give you guys a first impression of this guy. So I picked this shade up pretty much blindly, to be honest with you. I did not find the pictures online very helpful, and obviously being a brand new foundation, there was not really like that many good shade comparisons. And when I received this and I pumped out a little bit on the back of my hand, I've not tried it on my face yet, but when I pumped out a bit on the back of my hand, I was like, oh, this is definitely a summer shade. And today I'm wearing my hijab more like a turban style, so you'll be able to see if it is too dark. Usually, being a hijabi, I get to get away with that. If it is too dark, it doesn't really matter too much. I think this is a little bit too dark though. This is in the shade 310C. And this foundation came out at the same time as so many different other foundations. And I do really enjoy a lot of Anastasia Beverly Hills' products. I love their eyeshadow palettes, and I really do like their highlighters and their blushers as well. So obviously I wanted to give this a go. It's an ethical brand. This foundation has like so many good points towards it, so I'm gonna just read off quickly what they have on the bottle. It is vegan friendly, gluten free, alcohol free, which is awesome because that means that it's not going to dry up your skin. It's clinically tested, dermatologist tested. Okay, I cannot say this word, but I'll leave it on screen. Non-comedogenic, which means that it's not going to clog up your pores. It's suitable for sensitive skin. It's supposed to be long wearing and it's supposed to have no flashback. I started this video a lot later than I had hoped, so the wear test is probably going to be about 8 hours at this point, I think, but I'll do my best to stay up as long as possible to show you how it wears. And on the back it says it's supposed to be a medium coverage foundation with a luminous natural finish. And to be honest with you, those are the two things that I most look for with my foundations. I love a medium coverage. I don't love the fuller coverages because sometimes it's a bit too much for me, and light coverage, it's okay, but when you've got scarring and discoloration, you kind of want a little bit more oomph in your base. And I am obsessed with the luminous natural finish, not dewy. I used to love a dewy finish when I was younger, but my skin is very much combination. So I've got an oily T-zone and then I get dry around my eyes. My eyes are really dry at the moment, which was making the eyeshadow looks a little bit tricky to film, but the rest of my skin here is pretty much normal. So I like to have a foundation that looks like skin but isn't too dewy, isn't too matte. It's kind of in the middle. It's like a demi matte finish. This foundation bottle, first of all, has had so much critique. So many people are hating on the fact that this says foundation like this, and you know, they're saying it looks tacky, it doesn't look very nice, it doesn't go with the brand. I can see where they're coming from. I'm not the biggest fan that it says foundation, but I don't think it's the end of the world at the same time. It is a glass bottle. It looks very similar to the NARS, their latest foundation, which I'm still yet to try. I need to get my hands on that foundation. And I like it. I think it's sleek. It's got a nice lid. It's got a nice pump as well. So if I just put this shade in the back of my hand. Okay, you can see it's not really travelling down my hand. It's got quite a thick consistency. There is definitely a lot of olive and yellow in this base. Now, of course, as always, that's one pump by the way, which is quite small, so I'm going to put another pump on. I tend to use 1.5 to 2 pumps maximum whenever I'm using any foundation, and of course I'm going to be using one side with my beauty blender. This is a brand new one, so satisfying, and the other side I'm going to use a brush. This is the Morphe E6 brush. I love this flat top buffer brush, and I'm going to get a little bit closer for the foundation application. Whoa, you are right up and close and personal into my face. Now obviously I've got my concealer on because of my eyeshadow look, but I haven't done anything else to my face. I've not colour corrected, which I normally would do. I've just used my Beverly moisturizer and that's it. I'm not a typical primer person. I don't love using primer. I don't personally have one that makes my foundation look amazing, so I just skip it. Let's try this out. Now because of the thicker consistency, I'm guessing that with a sponge I'm going to prefer the finish. Okay, if we move back a little bit, you can see that this foundation is definitely darker than my neck. So with a regular hijab on, it could be workable, but it does look a little bit off when you compare it to my neck. But that's just one layer, and it's done a very, very good job at covering up my uneven skin tone. Even the discoloration around my mouth, you can still see it a little bit, but usually I would colour correct that. So the fact that it's pretty much covered and looking very nice, I'm happy with that. And I would definitely say that it has got a medium coverage in one layer, which is awesome. Because sometimes foundations be claiming the coverage is, you know, great, and actually it isn't. That, I didn't use much. I definitely used like one pump there. And if we just compare my skin with foundation to my bare skin, and by the way, my acne is, well, the scarring is pretty much symmetrical. It's very kindly decided to have acne on this side of my face and this side, so you know, we get it all balanced out. So yeah, it's done a very good job so far. So good, you guys. Like, let's see what it's like with a brush. Still have a little bit of foundation left in the back of my hand, which I will use if I feel the need to. Okay, I don't know if you guys can tell in the camera if there's much of a difference, but just looking at myself, I can't actually see a big difference between the sponge side and the brush side. Possibly there's a little bit more coverage here. I think you can see a little bit of redness here, and there's pretty much an even complexion on this side of my face. I'm just going to put whatever's left, which is a tiny bit, on this side where the redness is peeking through a bit, and just use my sponge to blend that in. I think the brush has definitely given me more coverage. Actually, now I can see it in the viewfinder as well as in my mirror. There is more coverage on this side. I'm not sure that I love that, because for me this is more full coverage, but I would say the scarring is pretty much covered up. Like, I would not want to do much more to my skin. Maybe if I was going to a wedding, I would conceal there beforehand, or like colour correct the redness with some green corrector so it's totally like not visible. But actually, like, I like both sides. I guess I would say that if you want more of a fuller coverage, then go in with a brush. And if you want a little bit more of a, can you say natural, because it's so obvious that I'm wearing foundation, but a bit more of a natural coverage, I mean, I can't think of any other word to use right now, then go in with a sponge. I like both sides, honestly. It's 4:10 right now. I'm going to be back in a couple of hours, and next time you see me, the rest of my makeup will be done. We will see how the foundation looks. I will say though that I'm not going to be applying any powder or anything that I wouldn't regularly do. I'm just going to redo my concealer properly and set it in place, which is what I always do, but I'm not going to put any face powder on. We're just going to test this with no primer, no powder, no setting spray, and see how far we can take it. Hey guys, so it's been 5 hours. It's now 9:25. It's been just past 5 hours since I put this foundation on. Obviously I've not touched it up. I will say though, I did end up spraying my face with the Beverly spray because I was looking a little bit powdery, but this isn't really a setting spray, this is more like a finishing spray. Yeah, let's take a look. So I am actually really happy with how my face is looking. It's looking maybe a little bit shiny, like the oils are starting to come through on my face. Definitely on my nose and sort of my forehead area for sure. So on a regular day, I would, at this point, if I was to look in the mirror, I'd grab my Charlotte Tilbury powder and just dust it on where I needed to. But it's looking really nice. Like the smile lines, it's a little bit apparent, but I always get smile lines, so it's not a big deal. And I think it's looking nice. It hasn't transferred anywhere, it hasn't rubbed off, it hasn't caked up. It was looking a bit cakey on the forehead, I felt like, but that's because I put more product on than I usually would on my forehead. You just do a little dab. Because I put a sponge on one side and a brush on the other, I think I put a bit too much on than what I typically do. I'm really happy with it so far. I think it's looking good. We're about to go to Glasgow now, so we'll be back a little bit later on. Probably, I think I'll do like probably 8 to 9 hour wear test, and I'll let you guys know how I get on. But not bad, definitely better than the Fenty one, that's for sure. Hello everyone, it is now 4 AM in the morning. I actually fell asleep, we got back late, fell asleep, and then I was like, I've not done my check-in, I need to go finish that video off, so dedication for you. This is what my face is looking like after 12 hours of wear. As you can see, I would say that it has probably come off a little bit over here where I've had my hand here and here, so it has transferred a little bit. Obviously my T-zone is looking oily. The foundation has moved a bit on my nose here, where again must have brushed it or touched it. Basically it's not looking the best, but it's looking way better than so many other foundations that I have tried to test for 12 hours without any help. Like, I've not touched this up, I didn't put powder on, I didn't put a stronghold setting spray on, I just used my Beverly. So all in all, I am so impressed. First impressions of this foundation, the colour match works pretty well for me. I think that my face looks like dewy, but it doesn't look ridiculous. You know, I actually think that with a bit of powder I could probably fix this up. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury powder. Just for the sake of this video, let's see if we need to touch up how it would look. I would say that doesn't look bad at all. I would say that with a bit of touching up, it looks pretty fantastic. So for me, so far this foundation is honestly getting a, I'm going to say it's 10 out of 10. I'm going to say it's met all of its claims that are on the bottle so far. It definitely is long lasting. It's giving me that medium coverage. It's giving me a skin-like finish. It's not too matte, not too dewy. I'm very impressed, and although I was a bit miffed at the price, that it being more than £40, which is definitely on the high end side of things, you know what, Anastasia, you made a good product and you deserve that price tag in my opinion. Obviously I'll let you know how I get on this foundation in the coming weeks, but also I need to add that I did do a flash test and I'm very happy with how it looked. My face looked pretty normal, there was no flashback, so again, meeting the claims, doing great things. Well done. I hope you enjoyed this video so far. I definitely prefer it to the Fenty Hydrating, so if you're stuck between the two, I would say go for ABH, and I hope that this video has been helpful. If you want more videos in terms of shades and comparisons, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in my next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!